Hey nerds, in this video I do a review and spoiler breakdown of The Last of Us Episode 4 titled Please Hold My Hand, written by Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, directed by Jeremy Webb. Starting now. Welcome to the Nerd Social. I'm John. Spoiler-free summary logline for this is, after abandoning their truck in Kansas City, Joel and Ellie attempt to escape without drawing the attention of a vindictive rebel leader. Hopefully that's not too much of a spoiler for you. So we're going to start with the spoiler-free review of this episode. So let's get right into it. After the very emotional third episode that preceded this one here, we now see that Ellie and Joel are moving on to their next destination, and they get into Kansas City, where they definitely encounter a rebel, I guess, resistance of some sort there. And I won't spoil exactly what it is that they have encountered, but there's some trouble there. And some thrilling scenes, some tense scenes, suspenseful scenes. And we got some pretty funny scenes as well. I thought it was pretty funny. So overall, another very solid episode. Keeps bringing us back for more. Lots of great cinematography. The effects of how they set up Kansas City with to make it look post-apocalyptic. Definitely, I'm impressed with all of that and how they are presenting the different scenes, the world it is. That Joel and Ellie are encountering. And so we got some new characters here as well. We also have Melanie Lynskey playing a character named Kathleen, and also Jeffrey Pierce playing Perry. And there's also Juan Magana playing Bryan in this as well. So Pedro, Pascal, and Bella Ramsay definitely encounter some new people in this episode. And again, without going too much into spoiler territory, another very solid episode. Keeps us coming back for more. All right, folks. At this point, we're going to go right into the spoiler review and breakdown. So, warning now. All right, everyone, you've been warned. Before I go into the spoiler review, again, if you like this content and would like to see more of this type of content done by the Nerd Social, please be sure to like and subscribe. And that way we can check out and see, what types of content you guys like, and we'll try to do more of it as well. All right, folks, let's get right into the spoiler breakdown of this episode. So we start off with Ellie. I guess they stopped off at a gas station, and while Joel is trying to siphon gas from other broken down cars or old cars, Ellie's in the bathroom, and she's playing around with her gun. You know, she's doing the teenagery thing, or just really anybody, checking out the gun, different poses and things like that with the gun, trying to look all cool and badass. She just looks funny and ridiculous there. So she comes out of the bathroom, and Joel kind of explains why he has to siphon. Apparently they have to keep stopping to do this because the gas is just not that great quality in the future. So I guess going untreated, it's not just as potent anymore. She has a book there, looks like a book of jokes. I call it the book of dad jokes because there's a ton of really bad jokes in there. And just for some levity, and she's just a kid trying to have a little bit of fun. She's telling all kinds of different jokes or reading the jokes from the book. Joel, being as stoic as he is, everything is just not funny to him. And he keeps a straight face the whole time and just kind of grumbles along. So they get back in the truck, the pickup truck, to get out of there. And again, there's a scene that's recreated from the comics. I'm sorry, the video game. And there's a few jokes that were told that are pulled right from the game as well. So as they drive on, they get into Kansas City. It looks like downtown Kansas City. And as they drive through, they come upon a tunnel. The tunnel is blocked. If they were able to just get right through the tunnel, they could get to the other side and be on their merry way. But no, this is not going to happen. And sure enough, they're going to try to find a way around. And of course, that detour leads them to a trap. That trap is by apparently the resistance fighters there, or rebel fighters. You see, this city appears to have been taken over by the rebels. They beat back Fedra, so Fedra is not in control. So technically, Kansas City is free. However, these rebels are trying to set a trap, and they see Joel and Ellie in the truck, and they're able to shoot at them just enough to run them into a building. Looks like they hit a storefront, and they're in there. And of course, a gunfight ensues. There's a shootout, a firefight, shooting back and forth. Quickly, Joel has Ellie go hide off in a corner. And of course, they find a hole in the wall, and he tells Ellie to get back through the hole behind it. And he's got two more shooters on the other side. And those two shooters he's able to take out. So again, very thrilling, very intense here as well. And as Ellie comes out, it turns out Joel is attacked by a third member, pops in through the door, and now he's got Joel on the ground, and he's choking him with his rifle, or a rifle. Ellie comes up behind, she has her gun, and she shoots the guy. And it turns out it's a kid. It looks like a kid, very young looking guy. And he's freaking out, he's crying basically. He doesn't want to die, and he's really sorry. He just wants to go back to his camp, and he's begging for his life. And Joel tells Ellie to go away, and Joel pretty much shoots him off screen. And so they move on. They move on and try to hide and go through the different buildings and such. So these aren't Fireflies. These are definitely resistance fighters that have fought back Fedra. And it looks like this guy they just took out, that's Bryan. That's Bryan, played by Juan Magana. And he apparently has upset Joel. When they have a moment to breathe at another building, Joel's clearly not okay with it. He's lamenting and regretting because it was just a kid. And at the time, he's also very regretful that Ellie had to see that. Ellie had to experience that, and he's saying, you're just a kid. You shouldn't have to go through this. It should have been me. It should have been me to protect you on there. He's sorry that Ellie even had to shoot him at first, and then Joel had to finish the job. A moment like this has brought Joel to his senses a little bit, or at least woken him up to the point where he feels as though he needs to now show Ellie how to hold a gun even. He acknowledges that she's got one now. He puts it back into her hands and shows her how to grip it properly. And it was a nice little moment there because he's shaking the gun to see if she's got a good grip, and that brings that really nice smile that Bella Ramsey has. And so, again, a nice moment. So now we cut to... looks like the rebel camp. At the rebel camp, that's where we meet Kathleen. Kathleen is interrogating somebody, an older man, and she's clearly looking for somebody. At first she comes off speaking very nicely to him, but she's getting very impatient. And it turns out what's happening is she's looking for rats. And when we say rats, these are people who are informants that Fedra use, and she's hunting down all of them. And finally, she even goes right back to the guy that she was originally interrogating, promptly pulls out her gun and shoots him. With Kathleen, we have another person, looks like it's her top lieutenant, a bearded actor, and that actor is played by Jeremy Pierce. And Jeffrey Pierce. Jeffrey Pierce is the voice of Tommy in the video game. So it's pretty cool to see that another voice actor gets a part in this series that's been so successful as a video game. So we're cutting back to Ellie and Joel. Now they're going up the flight of stairs. They're trying to get to the top. They want to get a better, a vantage point. And remember, elevators don't work, so they got to climb up all those flights of stairs. And I think they get as far as the 33rd floor. And, by then they're just dead tired. So they find a room, they wall it off, and Joel sets some nice little alarm thing going by putting some crushed glass on the ground. and they lay out their sleeping bags to go to sleep. And again, Ellie is joking, and she tells a joke, another dad joke, yet another dad joke. And this time, it cracks a smile with Joel. So Pedro Pascal, he's turned away from her in his sleeping bag, and he's just kind of cracking up. And they're both of them just cracking up after that. So very nice. And they finally fall asleep. And when they are asleep, everything seemed to be peaceful, seemed to be the next morning. And you see the camera facing Joel while he's sleeping, and quickly Ellie wakes him up. Joel, waking him up. And they've got guns in their faces. And there's guns by, looks like 2 guys. One kid and one, he looks like a kid too, maybe a teenager, a little bit older. And that's where we come to the end of that episode. So very nice introduction of some faces. The one face I did recognize is Kathleen. That actress definitely played by, looks like Melanie Lynskey. And we've seen her before in different TV shows and movies. Quite the character actor there. Jeffrey Pierce, I only know him by the voice acting that he's done. And while Magana appears to be new, I hadn't seen him in other things before either. But we are introduced to, it looks like it's Henry at the end, Henry and Sam, and they are in the game. Kathleen and Perry are not in the game. And a cool little Easter egg is also when they end up in Kansas City, that is not in the game. So in the game, they end up in Pittsburgh, I believe. Some of the similar scenes do play out as well, especially where they're the resistance fighters that were the people are trying to set traps for them to try to get them out of the car, out of the pickup truck. So that battle, that fight is in the game as well, but different city. Different characters here as well. Again, Kathleen and Perry, but Henry and Sam. Looking forward to what happens next. I kind of remember, I think, what happens in the game, but I won't spoil it because I don't want to just take guesses at this point. But another solid episode of The Last of Us here, as they're going across the country to try to get to Wyoming to go see Tommy, and these are just yet another. More perils that they have encountered along the way. And this time, we haven't seen any clickers in this episode. So in this episode here is just all people, right? The other people that they have to watch out for. And in this case, it's the rebel fighters they're trying to work to try to get around and get away from, to try to get out of the city. So again, that brings us to the end of this episode. Another good one here. As it keeps going along, it's very exciting and looking forward to more. So thank you all for joining, and see you all next time.